Hey, what's good, barbecue family? It's your boy Joe Meal here, back with Killer Miller Q, and today, pulling out the old 70th anniversary Weber Kettle. We got a pork tenderloin that we're gonna bake and wrap, put a little barbecue sauce on it. This will be good. Let's get right to it. Where this whole thing begins here. Starting off with this old pork tenderloin, I actually grabbed this at Sam's. Hey man, this is a great buy. 12, so get it out of the shade. $12.84. We'll be looking at 4.3 pounds of meat. Now, if you don't know, the pork tenderloin is like your filet mignon of pork. This is super lean. It's actually high in protein, not too high in fat. So a lot of times if you like buy any ready-made meals or anything like that, you might actually see sometimes pork medallions, different things like that, where you'll see this sliced up and they'll have some pork in there for you, and that'd be like towards the healthier meals. You can do a healthier recipe. Today's recipe will not quite be that. Because we're going to add a little bit of fat to this thing. It's nice and lean. There is some silver skin, as you can kind of see out the package. But for $6.50, man, it ain't too much of nothing I can do these days. So you can't be mad at that. So keep an eye out for something like this. This could be something else that you can add in or something different. But I'm only using one of these. The other one's going straight into the freezer. And I'm going to get a little bit of the silver skin off, and I'll show you what we're going to do. There we go. Light cleanup. There was really not that much. And to be honest, if you wanted to, you could probably just leave it on there. I mean, you're looking at a little bit of minimal fat, just a tad bit of silver skin, and maybe just any hanging meat that needed to get up off of there. Other than that, these babies is ready to rock. We don't go too crazy with them. Try to get them nice and uniform. I really don't want them to get too thin at the end. So, I mean, you could, but I mean, usually these tenderloins are pretty small, maybe around a pound a piece. So you keep in mind that package, both of these were in that one side package. The other side package I put away. So it's 4 of these. So they're roughly about a pound a piece. So all we're going to be doing is we'll be getting some seasoning on these babies. Today we're going to be using this old Heath Rouse cherry rub. This is a nice rub right here. It's got some good flavor, beautiful color, but really it doesn't have a whole lot of salt on here, which is good because we're going to be doing something extra that's going to give us another layer of salt, but this will give us a little bit of flavor and then obviously give us a little bit of that cover. Easy money. So these is ready to rock. All I'm about to do now is throw these in the refrigerator. I'm cover them up with a little saran wrap, toss these in the refrigerator. I'm gonna let these hang out for a couple hours and absorb some of that flavor. We'll come back out here and finish these babies up. Like I said, didn't hit them with nothing but some of this good old Heath Rouse cherry rub. And then like I told you before, when you go to that ingredients list, the ones that start the beginning are the ones that it's got the most of. So you see it starts right off: sugar, paprika, brown sugar. We got 2 sugars out of the first 3. So definitely way more flavorful, not so salty, but which is good. Pork's usually got its own salt, and we got some more good stuff coming. All right, after a little bit, almost about a couple hours, he's been hanging out in the fridge. Wrapped them up a little bit with some saran wrap. They ready to go. We got some good looking color on here. I made sure I didn't over season these because they don't need that much flavor. I showed you there's not too much salt in here, but really worked to just kind of clean my board up and roll them around, get the rest of that seasoning on there. The next step we're gonna be doing, you could omit this if you was trying to make this a little bit of a cleaner meal. I'm gonna be sliding over here and wrapping these things with bacon. Being that these are so small, I'm gonna cut this bacon in half, and then I'm just gonna be wrapping right over the top. I'll show you my technique, and we wanna make sure that we overlap so you can get yourself a nice little grip. Here's one done real quick. I usually try to keep the bacon going the exact same way. Nothing too crazy if you don't, but just so you can get kind of more or less a uniform, more or less look. Overlap each piece a little bit. This is going to draw up a little bit once it starts cooking, so it'll tighten up around there nice and tight as you go. But I'm going to be actually transferring this over to a rack that I'm going to be cooking on. Throw a little bit of spray stick on here. It's going to make it a little easy to move it around. And this one here I still haven't done. The other thing is, when you get to this end, don't leave it out real long and straight. Fatten that baby up a little bit, and that way you can kind of keep this thing a little bit more uniform. Everybody can cook together, as you see. And then we'll go ahead and get some bacon on that one. So let me get the bacon on the other, and we'll have these dialed in. Easy money. We got it all together right there. So I already threw it on the rack, kind of rubbed everybody together. got him nice and tight. I feel like he really got the size I'm looking for. It's pretty uniform all the way through. He'd get a little bit fat in the middle, but I think that was the bigger one overall. But regardless, both of these gonna cook up real nice. Hey team, I want to jump in here real quick and let you know, thanks for following along on today's cook. If you're new to the channel, go to the bottom right corner, make sure you subscribe, check out any other videos you've missed. And for everybody else, if you haven't found me yet, find me on Facebook, IG, and TikTok. All right, so we got the old Weber kettle here set up, and I only got one basket, just kind of give you an idea of how much you don't need a whole lot of charcoal. I barely had a half a chimney full. I'm over 400. Everything's pretty shut down, top and bottom. This has been hanging out over here for a good 20 minutes or so. But I'm gonna set this thing up indirect, as you see. Fire's over here. We're gonna throw both of those over there, and we're gonna let them sit down and take a little bit of time to get some of this smoke. We got these cowboy briquettes over here, which give off amazing flavor. Hopefully we get us a nice slow cook. Grab that meat. All right, those babies is on, looking pretty, a little sizzle. We're gonna let them hang out. I got my fatter one towards the fire. I will get a rotate here in a little bit, but for at least these first 20 minutes, I don't gotta worry about too much. Okay. It's been about 30 minutes, still rocking along. These babies ain't doing too much. I am gonna give it a 180 turn just so I can get this side and the back and flipped around and everything, but they're still cooking along well. 3 minutes in. You can see my fire is dropping down, which is no concern of mine because I'm still at a great one. I will throw a couple little coals in there just so I can keep cooking along, but just again, to give you an idea of what you can get, I got one basket in there. I probably had a little bit less than a half of a charcoal chimney. Been over 400 for the majority of this cook. 50 minutes in, these babies is looking good. I did give them a rotate last time, so I'm not gonna worry about nothing. I'm gonna slip this door up, throw me a couple charcoals in here so we can keep cooking along, and it's gonna keep on rolling along. Nothing to do. All right, it got dark on me out here. Hour and 17 minutes in, which has worked out perfectly. Down to 300, I threw in 3 briquettes. And I'm just kind of taking a peek, see where we at, which is good. I wanted this to get a little bit of that flavor and kind of get a little bit of that smoke, more or less. This charcoal briquettes is what I'm using, the cowboy charcoal briquettes. Tastes just like the lump charcoal the cowboy made. Got a great flavor on it. That's what I'm looking for. So as far as cooking this pork, normally back in the day I used to do this to about 165. A lot of people didn't get their pork that moist at that point, even though I didn't have that much of a problem with it. But the newer regulations say that you could take your pork to 145. Obviously you're gonna have a much juicier product, or somewhere in between, you know you're gonna be good. But more than anything right now, I gotta get that bacon done. So been looking to see when that bacon get crispy. I'll take a peek just to kind of get an idea where I'm at in the middle, but I'm not too worried. We looking good. Let's keep smoking. All right, so while I was in there doing that last little check, I noticed we were just about at about 140 in the middle. So we're getting close to where I want to be. Bacon's still not where I need it to be, but the inside and that pork is getting where we need to be. So we're going to be putting together a nice little bit of glaze to throw into that bacon, give us one more layer of flavor. What I'm going to be doing is pretty much starting with some General Sweet Baby Ray's, nothing too crazy there. We'll be adding in a little bit of this cherry rub just to kind of cherry it up and give it a little bit more flavor, and a little bit of this honey to your own taste and liking. But we're going to mix those together, primarily obviously barbecue sauce, maybe about half a teaspoon or so of the cherry rub, and then get a little bit of glaze on there. There's my barbecue sauce. Now we just need to get a little bit of this honey in here. And we don't need a ton of honey because it's going to be nice and sweet, but this will give you a nice glaze, get it nice and sticky. And then I got just about a teaspoon of that Heath Rouse cherry rub. Let's mix this up and give it a taste and see how that tastes. And we should be looking something like that. That's tasting pretty good. That Sweet Baby Ray's swallow up most of it, so this is nice and sweet. Got a little cherry blend to it. I want a little heat to it. I got a little bit of this chipotle pepper sauce. I'm gonna be adding a few dashes of that in there. I don't want this to be too much kick, but just a little something for that pork should be perfect. And I'm only gonna hit, there we go. That should do it. That right there is perfect. Just a little bit of kick on there. Gave it a little more herby flavor too with that pepper. I like that. Let's get to the pit. We're gonna brush them babies down. We're gonna let them sit. All right, we back out at the pit. These babies are starting to glaze over and give me a little bit more color. My bacon is not as crispy as I want it to be in the end, but that's all right because we're going to get it there before it's said and done. It's time to throw a little bit of this sauce on. We'll be able to get a couple applications on here. I'm sure that sugar will help kind of cling on there and also crisp this up, give us our last layer of flavor, and in the end, these going to be right. So let's get some on. And you're going to have to pardon my reach as I knock out at least one of them. Since I don't got no seasonings on here, I don't got to worry too much. This has been cooking along for a while now, so more than likely you shouldn't have to worry too much about losing your shape. But I will go in the same angle as my bacon. I just want a nice uniform coat. Don't got to go too crazy. This is a good time where you want to have your fire a little lower than maybe where you had it a minute ago. So I'm not still at 400. We down to like 300, probably creeping into 275 soon. And I'm just gonna let these babies hang out, soak up this color, soak up this sauce, and then hopefully I can give me a couple applications on here before we got to get them off and give them that final saucing, and we'll be good. So there you go. Remember, less is more in this case. We're gonna hit it again, so we don't gotta overdo it right now. I don't want it too gloppy. I'm gonna knock that one out, and I'll let you see it at the end. Ooh-wee! That gravy train, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Nice and tight. Let these babies hang out right where they at. Sauce is coming with me. Sauce is fire. I'm trying to tell you. Super simple. Nothing crazy. I like that Sweet Baby Ray's as the base because I'm always gonna start off nice and sweet. You can also add other stuff in there and really get to where you want it to be based on how you like your flavor and your heat profile. But this is good for me right now. Let me close this thing back up. Woo! We right back up in here. About 10 minutes later, man, look at my color. Look at my color. That's why I said just a little bit. Be nice to it. Don't be gloppy. But you know what? Man, it's yours. If that's the way you like it, if you like your sauce on there gloppy, make your thing gloppy. I'll make mine pretty, just like you see it. We're going to get a nice, wet, sticky little texture by the time this is all done. I'm going to go ahead and hit it again. I want to give it a full 180 rotation. And then we're going to let it hang out one more little bit. And I'll be probably bringing it back in. Man, I'm excited. It's time to come on up off of here. You see we done dropped all the way down to about 250. These babies are sitting at about $1.55. And as you can see, they are alive, baby. We about to get these things in the house. I'm gonna let them hang out for a little bit, and then hell, we're gonna slice into it and see what I got up in here. In the house, these babies have sat long enough. It's time to get a taste. Got a little bit of that sauce to the side. That sauce came through great, nothing crazy. Sweet Baby Ray's, a little bit of that chipotle pepper hot sauce, some honey, and then a little bit of that Heath Rouse cherry rub in there. These babies is glazed to perfection. Smelling great. Let's cut directly in the center of this one right here. Okay. And then let's get a peek at what we got in there. Oh yeah, looking nice and moist. You can see that nice little layer of the seasoning still in there. Let's cut us a nice slice of this here. All right, got that nice slice there. This is for me. Man, this feels super tender here. Check that out. A little bit of smoke ring. Let's take a bite. Count it. We got another one down. That cook took me almost 2 hours. We was cooking roughly in between 3 to 350 most of the time. At the end of the day, I really enjoyed that. You can't beat being able to get that pork tenderloin at 13 bucks basically. Four of them actually. I put a couple of them in the freezer, but being able to still have those two that was each about a pound each, more than enough meat, a whole lot of food for the family for a little bit of money. So basically inside 20 bucks when you look at adding in a little bit of that bacon. So first and foremost, I like that. It came out easy, came out smooth, it was super tender. I had it at about 155 when we took it off of there. Some of the things that I might have changed, I needed a little more salt. So next time what I plan on doing is I was hoping that my bacon would be able to give me enough salt. It wasn't too far off, but I'll probably hit it with a little bit of that Killer Miller Q 110, a little bit of that SPG, then come over the top with the bacon and then maybe just cover the bacon with the cherry rub versus the actual tenderloin. This cherry rub has a lot of good flavor, but it's very cherry, not very salty. So with that said, there wasn't a whole lot of salt on there, but that barbecue sauce in the end really kind of made up for that. I like adding that chipotle pepper in there, along with a little bit of this cherry rub, a little Sweet Baby Ray's. I usually like to keep that on hand. It's just kind of a base barbecue that I might add some stuff to. And then a lot of times when I'm looking to get something funky, I might find a flavor or something like that of a different kind of barbecue sauce that I like, and then I'll pretty much leave it alone and put it on and let it go. But another one down. We'll be rolling on to the next one. Shouts out to the family, all my boys over there at Black Smoke Barbecue, and you out there at TV Land. I appreciate y'all. We'll catch you next week. Peace.